All right, so let's see what we've got here. I'm going to basically do what I've shown over here. So I'm going to create a sample project that's meant to be a final use project. And then I'm going to create a second project, which I would want to share some code with the first one. Then I'm going to take out that code from the first project that I want to use as a package, and then I'm going to architect a package project with it. And then I'm going to refactor the two sample projects to use that, and then I'm going to show how you can reflect the code editing from both. So this is my first project. You can see here, this is basically the default Unity project. All I've done is flatten the camera a little bit. So this is, I just picked a universal render pipeline project. All it really does is gives you this thing, but you can move back and forth and left and right. And I think that's pretty much it. Oh, okay, Q and E goes up and down. Cool. Great. So what I've gone ahead and done is I've gone to scripts and I've created this bouncy camera script. So this essentially uses the camera controller that's already in there, modifies it a little bit to add a bounce. So I can have the camera kind of jump up and down while you move forward. So let's turn off the built-in one and let's use our bouncy camera controller. Set it with some parameters. So there you go, we bounce real high while moving forward and backwards. Let me just make that feel a little bit better. I'll do a bounce frequency of 4, bounce amplitude of 0.5. This should feel a little bit better. There we go. So now we have a bouncy guy. Now, let's save that, close that. I'm going to load up my second project that does not have this bouncy script in it. So this is pretty much just the straightforward default one. What I'm going to do here is show you how this project is basically just different. I'm going to make it a little bit more obviously different by just, I don't know, change the skybox. Yeah, just so we can easily distinguish this scene from the other scene. Okay, so the red skybox one is the sample 2. Now what I want is that same script, right? And right now here, this just has a simple camera controller. I want to have the other one as well. I could just copy paste the script over. I could export a Unity package file from the first one and bring it over. But instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the package manager concept. So what package manager needs, and I'm going to just reference the Tango repository to see how we do this. So I'm simply going to go over there, take a look at the Tango project, and what we have done is I've put the SDK source file over here, like so, right? And it has basically all of these files. So I'm going to pretty much copy this guy and come to sample project and just paste here. Yeah. I'm gonna call this bouncy package. I'm gonna delete all these meta files for the moment. I'm gonna delete all of the code in here. And what I'm gonna do is go to sample one, take that script, the bouncy camera controller, oh sorry, this one, right, and come to bouncy package and paste it in here. Now I'm going to open this stuff in Sublime, so ignore all that other stuff. All right, I'm going to call this combat active tearing.bouncy version 1.0 test bouncy camera test. This package allows you to import a bouncing camera controller to any project. Unity, this is kind of the minimum one. Dependencies, I'll say there's no dependencies. If you want, you can put one of those. Bitgem, bouncy, you can add whatever you want here, doesn't really matter. Camera controller, cool. Okay, left some things in there. All right, I'm going to close that. Now I'm going to license, yada, yada, yada. It doesn't really matter. You can just copy paste that. Change log, initial version of bouncy SDK to test Unity package system. And readme. Bouncy package. This is the readme. Okay, excellent. Now, if you try to use that right away, so you can go to this little plus sign, say add package from disk, right? And then you go into bouncy package and you select the package.json, press open. It will kind of show all of this stuff, but I think it won't allow you to import it, right? And that is because there is no ASMDef in there. So what I'm gonna have to do is essentially, we're gonna go into sample one, right? So pick one of your projects essentially, right? So I'm just gonna remove the existing one, and I should move the bouncy package into its assets folder. So let's drag that over here. I'll just put it inside scripts. Why won't it let me put it inside scripts? Okay, there we go. So it's in here now. The way you need to set this up now, so I need to go open that project. So let's open sample one. This is where I put the bouncy project. Let Unity load up. All right. So now I have removed this script from here. Let's remove that. I'm going to add bouncy camera controller. Cool. Let's just check to make sure everything still works. All right. It does. I'm going to go in there, go into runtime, and I'm going to create an assembly definition file, and this is called bouncy dot runtime. Excellent, because I just want to compare it to Tango's for a second here. So Tango SDK source runtime, we call this one bitchintango.source.asmdef, and then in here we have another one which is tango internal.asmdef. So it doesn't really matter what you call it, but these asmdef files are what helps your VS Code reference it. So now that we have that over there, let's go back over here. I'm going to close this for a second. Sure, let's save it. I'm going to go over here. It's in the sample project, sample 1. I put it over here, right? So this is the package that I want to use as a separate package. So I'm going to move it out over here, right? So it has package.json, a runtime. Runtime has an asmdef. We have all these meta files generated that have all of these things in relative to each other. So now I'm going to open sample 2, right? And it's preserving the reference to the asmdef that we already have. So we're going to go from there. All right. So let's look at packages. There we have it. We have bouncy package. If you go into runtime, it has its file, right? So right now this is still using the old camera controller, where it just has movement. There's no bouncing. Now what we're going to do, we're going to go into main scene, turn off the existing camera controller. We'll add bouncy. So it's being able to find it. This is on the second project where we didn't write this code, right? I'm going to give it a frequency of 8, so it should be twice as bouncy. And there we go. We have the bouncy controller that we coded in the first project over here. Now let's do something real quick. Let's edit this bouncy camera controller here. I want to make it only bounce when I'm moving, right? So let's go into the code where I have where I increment. Can I fold this code away, please? My VS Code is still rolling up. All right, there we go. So that's over here, right? So essentially the way that I have that set up is that it's a sine of time, and we increment the time every frame. I'm going to make this only increment if input dot square magnitude is greater than 0, and so my computer's struggling a little bit right now because I'm screen recording while also recompiling. Let's just wait this one out. All right, did it do anything? What happened? Let me just see that my code completion is working. Square. Huh, interesting. But it seems to be fine, I think. Let's see our console. I don't know, let's just test it out. I think it worked. Maybe it worked. There we go. Whoa. Oh, right, because I recompiled script. Well, that's odd. Let's look at what happened here. All right, so it doesn't zero out the translation. Well, I did. The change happened anyway, so we know that much is true. Let's see if I can find out what the issue here was. Right. What I need to do is it's not about changing the time increment, but it is instead to set how much we go up. So we need to increment the time all the time, and instead we will have vector3 bounce equals that plus bounce, and what I'm going to say is input dot square. Oh, there we go. Now we have autocomplete. Greater than 0, we do that. Otherwise, we do 0. F. Vector 3.0. So basically, if there is an input that is non-zero in value, then we are bouncing, otherwise we're not. Hopefully that is correct. Refresh. Let's run that. So we should just stop midair if I stop moving, right? So yeah, so we're bouncing, bouncing, and then I stop, and we're not bouncing. Right, so the change, I have implemented the change in this one. Now I'm going to close it. We are going to go over to sample 1, where the original code was. And we should be set in a second. So this package was deleted, the main camera, this script was removed, packages, package manager. Anytime now, anytime. All right, cool. So I'm going to add that local package, the same local package. Just click on the package.json file. That's what Unity uses to actually find the package. When you add a package from file for the first time, it basically just adds all of its scripts in there, and you should be able to find it in here. I'm going to the main camera, add the bouncy camera controller. Let's do a slow bounce, and now this one should also have the bounce only while moving feature. It's easy to see with a fast bounce, so I'm gonna just give it a really fast bounce. Let's do 32. Why don't we? 32 bounces in 2 seconds. 16 bounces a second. There we go. Let's give it some more bounce amplitude as well, so you can see that a little bit more clearly. There we go. Right, so we're bouncing only while moving. We stop bouncing when we stop moving. And there you have it. You can I'm going to close this editor. You can go in here and click on the code. This is the same file on your file system that is referenced between the two projects. And so you should see the code that we just added is all there. Hope that was helpful. That's using Unity's new package system with sharing code, and also you can share prefabs and you can share shaders and materials and all that other good stuff, all those resources. Great.